Hello everyone, welcome back to our second part lesson of arithmetic series, sorry. So in the previous video, we talked about the formula to find out the arithmetic series, which is, as you can see, we can just use the first term and second term, last term, and also figure out how many terms in the sequence divided by 2. That will be the arithmetic series. So in this video, we are going to check 3 examples to figure out how do we practice this formula and how do we use this formula to figure out the answer. Let's check the first one. The first one telling us we need to find out the sum of the given arithmetic series, which is described as the first term is 8, the common difference is 6, and there are 20 terms. So let's write down the arithmetic series formula as a reference. So we know we need to know the first, the last. Oh, sorry, why do I write 8? Is going to be 8n. So first and last, and also the number of terms. So let's check what do we know. We know the first term is 8. We also know there are 20 terms, so n is 20. However, in order to use this formula, we also need to find an. In this case, it's going to be A20, which we don't know. So the first question is, how do we find A20? So some students probably already figure out. Remember, we study when we introduce arithmetic sequence, we have an explicit formula, which is, so we can use this one to easily find out any terms in the sequence, right? So now we are going to use this one to help us. How do we do? So since we need to find A20, so it's going to be A1 plus 20 minus 1 times the common difference. So now let's plug in the value because we need to know the A20. Now we know 8 as the first term, and 20 minus 1 is 19 times common difference is 6. Of course, you can use calculator if you want to, but it's always a great idea to do the mental math, which is, let's do this 19 times 6, it's going to be 114, and then we just figure out the answer is 122, right? So now we just need to plug in everything to figure out S, in this case is 20 because we are adding 20 terms. 20 times 8 plus 122, because that's A20, and then divided by 2. Again, you can always use calculator to double check your answer, but it's always good to find out the answer by yourself. So it's 20, we figure out the sum first, which is 130, divided by 2, then there's going to be 1300. Of course, you can always check the answer by using calculator to say 20 times 8 plus 122 divided by 2, which is 1300, right? Okay, so that's a first example here. Now let's check the second. If the first term and last terms of the arithmetic sequence with 5 and 27 respectively, and series has a sum of 192, then how many terms are there in the series? This is actually quite interesting because let's write down this formula again to remind us. So this time, let's see what we know. We know Sn, which is 192, and we know the first, A1, is 5, and we know the last, which is 27. However, this question asks how many terms, so this time we are focused on how to find n. So now let's plug in the value into this formula to see what we do know. So Sn is 192, n is one we don't know, and then the first and the second divided by 2. So there's many ways to do this. Some student might do, 5 plus 27 is 32. And 32 divided by 2 is 16n. So I'm going to write 16n and 192. And in order to find n, we just need to divide by 16, right? So which is going to be 12. Again, you can always check the answer by using calculator. 192 divided by 16. Okay, so the answer is 12, which means how many terms here is 12 terms. 12 terms in this series. And this Sn is actually indicated as 12, right? Just because there is an n term. So this one is actually, we use a formula, we're working backwards and to figure out the sum answer. But what we do is just using this formula, plug in the values we know, and we just solve like a regular equation to solve it. Again, for this one, there's so many ways to do it. So you can easily choose your way to solve it. As long as you get the same answer, then you are correct. Now let's work on the last example. Last example says Lisa has set up the college saving account for her daughter Lola. If Lisa deposits $100 per month in account, increasing by $10 per month each month after, then how much will be in account after 10 years? Okay, so let's check it out. So this one says deposits $100 per month in account, which is, oh, sorry. So each month she's depositing 100 per month, but starting second month is increasing, which is next is going to be 110, then 120, then we just continue. But this time we are going to figure out the total money in 10 years. So the tricky part is, this is actually, as you can see, since the number is increasing by 10, we already figure out this is going to be arithmetic series, right? So let's write down the formula to remind us what do we need to do. So we need to know how many terms in this sequence. We need to know the first term. We also need to know the very last term. So now let's check. So we know this is actually the first month because Lisa deposited 100 per month in account, and also increasing by $10, right? So then next month is going to be 110, then 120, and so ever. And so how many terms we need to figure out, and we need to note how many months. Remember, it's per month. We need to figure out how many months. But this time we're talking about 10 years. So how many months is going to be 12 months times 10 years is going to be 120 months, right? So we know n. Now we need to know the very last term, which is a and 120, because it's going to be the last month at the end of the 10 years. So once we figure out this, we can easily to plug in the value. So now let's work on this one. So as we mentioned, we always use explicit formula to do this. First term, n minus 1 times d. In this case, d is our increase by $10 each month, right? So we just plug in this. And this is going to be 119 times 10. And this is going to be 119 plus 100 is 1290. So this is our 820 now. We just plug in here. And this, since we have 120 terms, it's going to be 120. And then 100 this. The first term is 100 plus this, then divided by 2. Again, if you really do not like using mental math, you can use the calculator to find out the answer. So it's 120 times, do not forget the parentheses, 100. Oh, sorry, I think I made a mistake, which is adding. Oh, actually it's multiplying, what I'm doing here. So it's 100 plus 1,200, and I don't know what's going on. I keep making mistakes, but we cracked it. And lastly, do not forget to divide by 2. So let's check again. It's 100 first term, and A120 is 1,290 times this. So is this number. So at the end of the 10 years, we have 8 $83,400. That's all the money they put in the. So as you can see, this is actually another way to save money, right? You can just put a small amount in the account, and probably in the several years you will get a certain amount of money, which you actually just contribute on a daily basis. Okay, that's all the 3 examples I want to share with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. You're always welcome to watch, pause the video to practice example on your own. And hopefully this example help you to understand the arithmetic series we introduced today in a better way. Okay, see you soon everyone. Take care.